everyone will pay tax. They're saying that is what Kenya Kwanza is saying is at the bottom of this clamor. Professor.
You know, the Kenya Kwanza government is falling into a trap with the opposition. Opposition's job right now is to engineer disaffection with their policy, disaffection with the state institutions. That is their job, because they need to seize power. So now, when the response comes from the other side, they are falling now. They are now doing what the opposition would like them to do. And that's why they need to think deeper. The other way you create dissatisfaction is written here by one of these journalists. Says that...
Which paper is that?
This is Standard.
Standard,
Page 6. Kenya has some cleaning up to do. Avoid falsehoods that create tension. So falsehood is not just about tension, but also it will enhance dissatisfaction with the government and with the institutions. So the person with the bigger responsibility to avoid the falsehoods is actually the state. Because once the state engages in the falsehoods, and assuming the opposition is, then what you are doing is you are doing their work. You are assisting them. So there is a lot of learning here from the state, and like Dr. Law said, that they need to understand that they are in the government. And then, if you see now they are doubting their legitimacy, they need to accept that legitimacy. You see, when you defend yourself, remember I told you that it is us who stand up and say, oh, we are an independent country, because we know we are not independent. We will never have America saying they're independent of France or UK. So when you stand up and say, I'm the president, you are doubting that you are actually the president. So we need, these people, they need to know that they are the ones who have responsibility of maintaining calmness. They are the ones with the responsibility of giving us hope for a better tomorrow. Because I can tell you how this thing will work out. If this tension continues, the way it is now building, this is a very dangerous thing economically. Money does not like insecurity, so there will be capital flight. Even in local investors, instead of putting money in Kenya, they'll be trying to put it in Tanzania, in Rwanda, where they can predict stability of a longer period. So the government should not encourage the raka, the shouting match, because it will have other consequences, which may not be right now apparent. So what they need to do also is listen to what the opposition is saying. The Kenya tax regime is not normal. It's irrational. Because it's irrational, you see, what the government policy need to focus on, to answer them, focus on rationalizing the tax regime so that it can promote growth, because right now it doesn't, it's undermining growth. I don't know whether they listened to Churchill, the former British Prime Minister, at one time. He said he is not aware of any country which tax itself to prosperity, because there is none. So, tax regime. Then number two, they need to deal with the cost of power. Input, one of the primary input to production. Because the companies have been living in Kenya, going to areas where they can manage their cost of producing goods. So they are not focusing on that. And the other dimension is in government waste. So sometimes what you do when you're in government is you listen to those fellows, then you pick what they are saying, you go and correct it. Now they have nothing to talk about them because you are correcting it. But if you make it a shouting match, you won't benefit them. Because you see the way Ruto, quote and quote, won the election, he leveled Uhuru Kenyatta. He leveled Uhuru Kenyatta as a dynasty. He was not competing with Raila. The election was between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, dynasties. Then he created the Azola. Then for 5 years or 6 years, every day, he talked about them until it sank. So these fellows, they can now also label Ruto right now. He's in the power. they can start to see what they are doing here. Fukuzen Muizi, even though the Muizi thing didn't work during the other election, it didn't work because these Christians, they have been told that Jesus came for thieves. So calling somebody a thief doesn't really deliver politically. But if you seeing it for the next 5 years, I love the cost of living continue to rise, then it sticks. Okay. And it works for them in 2027. I don't think demonstration will deliver. If I were them, I would have these rallies, controlled rallies, peaceful rallies, which it doesn't.
They'll be in Kamkuji, Kibra, and then I think the week after that they'll be in Machakos. So they do plan to make this like a national. They need
to avoid demonstration and do the rallies.
Yes.
Because rallies, they will be advocating, they will be labeling Ruto and label him, label. So they continue like that. They can go sufficient dissatisfaction, even if they call now for people uprising in 2 years' time, after they have created a ground zero, and after the misery of Kenyans has continued, which look like it will continue, because I don't see the government doing what it needs to do to reduce the misery, because the misery is caused by misuse of resources.
Okay.
So as long as there is no focus to reduce the misuse, so they will get traction. And that's what the state needs to know, so they can counter.